15 years ago, on Monday, a young Mark Zuckerberg launched what is now known as Facebook. And just a couple of years later, Roger McNamee, an early investor in the company, became a mentor to Zuckerberg. But since things have changed, McNamee has gone from Facebook backer to vocal critic. And this is from a 2016 memo that McNamee sent Facebook's leadership before the election, the U.S. presidential election, was even called. Recently, Facebook has done some things that are truly horrible, and I can no longer excuse its behavior. Facebook is enabling people to do harm. It has the power to stop harm. What it currently lacks is an incentive to do so. McNamee's journey is laid out in his new book titled Zuck, Waking Up to the Facebook Catastrophe. He joins us once again from New York. So, Roger, that was before the election was called. 2 years later, we've confirmed that Russia meddled in the election. Facebook has admitted what a big problem fake news, in fact, is. And yet the company still reported a record profit, reported user growth. Is there a fundamental mismatch between your concerns about Facebook's harm to the world, the media's concerns about privacy, and what the public really wants?
Well, you know, here's the thing I would say, Emily. With respect to the earnings, it makes total sense that they would have had a blowout quarter. Remember, if you're an advertiser, you have to go where the audience is. And Facebook has the largest audience on earth. It has the best targeting. Its ad product is second to none. I'm trying to introduce people to a book. If I want to reach people with a book about Facebook and Instagram, there's really nothing quite like advertising on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm not even remotely surprised they had record earnings. The one thing that I think every analyst would note is that there are a lot more ads in your news feed than there used to be. In my case, every fifth or sixth post is an ad. That's probably twice as many as I would have had a year ago. And I don't know how many ads they can put in the news feed before it really harms the experience. And candidly, I like ads in Facebook, so I don't mind them, but there are an awful lot of them.
But it's not just about the profit, it's about the user growth. They saw daily active users grow in the U.S. and Europe. I
would like to suggest that a tad of skepticism would be appropriate there. You may remember, I don't know, it was 8, 9 months ago, they told us that they had blocked 1 billion inauthentic accounts from being formed on Facebook. When you're blocking 1 billion inauthentic accounts, you know, you have a lot of opportunity to let a few through if you need to. I mean, Facebook also told you in the quarter that before very long they're going to stop reporting Facebook as a broken out piece. They're going to integrate it with Instagram and WhatsApp. I don't think they're doing that because the numbers at Facebook look great. We also know from Nielsen that usage on a per user basis is down dramatically over the past year. I think the number is like 20% or something. What it is doesn't matter so much, other than people have changed their behavior. And you saw this in the 2018 midterms, where the effectiveness of disinformation was radically reduced with at least a portion of the Facebook audience. And that was really encouraging. I mean, you know, I look at these things and I go, I understand why the stock's up. The problems I'm talking about aren't rearward-looking, they're forward-looking, and we really do need to address them.
But you're suggesting Facebook could be juicing the numbers and not shutting down as many fake accounts as they could?
I'm saying, no, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply saying you can't exclude that when you're, I mean, let's think about this in the context of other things. Facebook has, you know, these automated systems for getting rid of hate speech. And, you know, what they define as hate speech has a large influence on what the percentage is of successful capture. And my only point is, it's a black box. We can't audit it. We do not know. Facebook has huge incentives to make the numbers appear like they're rising. And I just would say, if you look at their behavior over the past 2 years, what is the argument for taking the number at face value? I don't see one.
Right. So Facebook did release a statement about your criticism, saying we take criticism seriously. Over the past 2 years, we've fundamentally changed how we operate to better protect the safety and security of people using Facebook. The reality is Roger McNamee hasn't been involved with Facebook for a decade. What's your response to that?
Well, really simply, it's demonstrably true. I have not been involved for at least 9 years. But let's look at the front half of that, because I'm an analyst. I don't need to be on the inside to be able to observe things that I read in the newspaper and understand what they mean. But they're saying that they're protecting users. Well, last week, Apple expelled Facebook for a day, and Google as well, for having so-called research applications that they tried to sneak into the App Store through a private portal. And those apps were spying on the users who used them, including a significant percentage of minors under the age of 18. I wouldn't call that protecting users. The prior week, Facebook had a legal case accusing it, apparently without conflict, of essentially encouraging children to spend lots of money on in-app purchases in games, in some cases up to thousands of dollars on their parents' credit cards. And they knew this was going on and did nothing to stop it and tried to pretend as though that wasn't a problem. I would say those are two very disturbing things. Also last week, Facebook kicked off ProPublica out of it from doing the audits of Facebook's political advertising site. They were just going in to make sure that Facebook was doing a complete job, and they stopped letting them do that. Also last week, Snopes, the fact-checking site, gave up working with Facebook and said it was basically they were impossible to work with. So I would actually argue that the current evidence suggests that Facebook is not making progress in a material way, and there are new issues that affect Facebook, Google, and others related to, say, smart speakers and smart video devices and smart televisions, smart cars, that suggest that the problems we have today with privacy are tiny in comparison to the ones that are coming right now if you put Alexa-based devices or Google Home devices or Facebook portal devices into your house.
Now, Roger, I sat down with Sheryl Sandberg last week and I asked her point blank, why should anyone trust Facebook? Why should anyone trust her? Take a listen to what she had to say.
It has been a challenging time for Facebook, and we need to earn back people's trust with the steps we take. We've changed our profitability because we want to take the hard steps to protect people on the platform. And you see us doing that. You see what happens with elections, the U.S. midterms, and around the world, fake accounts, decreasing the distribution of fake news. These are hard and ongoing problems, but we are determined to do the hard work and keep doing it.
Now, Roger, Facebook has hired thousands and thousands of people to double down on safety and security. They say they've changed the algorithm in the news feed to tilt it more towards personal news rather than world news. I know none of that is enough for you. If that's not enough, what should Facebook be doing? And if Facebook isn't going to do it, what should users in the government be doing?
Yeah, Emily, here's the way I would tell you I think about the problem. I've studied this now for 3 years to try to understand why this stuff happens on Facebook. Remember, I'm still a shareholder, and remember, this was one of the crowning achievements of a long, long career, and I'm really proud of Facebook, and it really bothers me that this is not going well, and it's obviously not in my economic interest to be a critic. So I'm convinced that the business model is the problem. It's the problem at Facebook. It's the problem at Google. They essentially have this advertising business model that depends on monopolizing the attention and manipulating the attention of the user. In order to do that, the algorithms are tuned to focus on emotional things that trigger outrage, that trigger fear, or tickle people with rewards of some kind. And, you know, when you're doing that for long enough, people first develop a habit, then they develop an addiction, and once they're in an addiction, they're vulnerable to manipulation by bad actors on the outside. And until you change the business model, that's there.